So the context is, long story short, Israel attacked Iran, wanted to destroy all the nuclear facilities, did not have the firepower to destroy all the nuclear facilities because, and by nuclear facilities I mean the uranium enrichment facilities, because there was the Fordo one deep under a mountain and a second one. Simply speaking, the state of Israel did not have the bunker busters to get the job done, so they urged the US to do it for them. And long story short, the US did do it for them, which I could do a whole other segment. I could do a whole separate segment about whether or not Benjamin Netanyahu ended up playing Trump like a trumpet and sort of turning around his bad situation, because before Europe has started sort of saying, hey, what's happening in Gaza, that's pretty horrible. Europe sort of suddenly woke up from a long coma and started saying, hey, you know what? It is pretty bad what's happening in Gaza. Hey, could you stop? Could you maybe not do it? And then Israel attacked Iran, and suddenly all of those European countries that have been criticizing Israel started saying the same old, oh yeah, Israel has a right to defend itself by attacking Iran. Whatever, let's not get into this now. Point is, US attacked Iran, bombed the nuclear facilities. Apparently, the US claims that it was a huge success, that the facilities have been disabled, completely destroyed. Iran says, not true. And even if it's true, we've evacuated all the important equipment and materials, so it doesn't matter. And then there's been the statement by Medvedev from Russia, who said, Iran's nuclear program will not stop. Russia and many other countries are ready to supply Iran with nuclear warheads. This is a pretty important part. Okay, I hate to be that person, but it looks like Trump's legacy will definitely not be that of a peacemaker. But you know what? Trump's legacy just might be making Iran into a nuclear state. So it might not be the legacy that he wanted, but he definitely might leave a legacy behind. Whether or not it's a legacy that he should be proud of is a completely different topic, but he's certainly building up to a legacy. So now we will read the response of Donald Trump to Medvedev about him basically saying that Russia would provide Iran with nuclear warheads. And I'm gonna tell you, I've read this before. This is very, very, from my perspective, strange and juvenile way of discussing quite serious topics. I think nuclear non-proliferation, I don't know, I would think that discussing nuclear weaponry is a pretty, very, potentially world-ending topic. So I would feel like you would treat it seriously, but leave it to Donald Trump to turn even the most serious of topics into a farce. Leave it to our American president. So, without further ado, did I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually throwing around the N-word? Why would you do this? Why would you call it the N-word? Nuclear. Why does it have to make it so weird? Why does he have to make it so weird? And saying that he and other countries would supply nuclear warheads to Iran? Did he really say that? Or is it just a figment of my imagination? If he did say that, and if confirmed, please let me know immediately. The N-word should not be treated so casually. This is so weird. I swear to God, this is so weird. This is so weird and stupid. I guess that's why Putin's the boss, by the way. If anyone thinks our hardware was great over the weekend, far and away the strongest and best equipment we have 20 years advanced over the pack is our nuclear submarines. They are the most powerful and lethal weapons ever built, and just launched the 30 Tomahawks. All 30 hit their mark perfectly. So in addition to our great fighter pilots, thank you, the captain crew and crew. This is so ridiculous. But you know what? We now actually have a response from Medvedev himself. And as much as countries would like to give nuclear weaponry to Iran, Russia still sort of kind of is in need to keep pretty good relations with the United States because, quite frankly, it's Russia's success in Ukraine depends on it. And that is why we got this limp-wristed, weak reply from Medvedev that I've just spotted somewhere around here. Let me see. I want to see this response. There we go. Found it. And it's brilliant. Okay. Regarding President Trump's concerns, I condemn the US strike on Iran. It failed to achieve its objectives. However, Russia has no intention of supplying nuclear weapons to Iran because unlike Israel, we are parties to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Has been in office. Prime Minister of Russia. President of Russia between May 2008 to 7th of May 2012. Hello, fake Alec Cal Parker. How are you? That guy is wild, yes. He threatens to nuke everybody and nobody treats him even remotely seriously. So, I'm gonna give you a TLDR. I think I've already given you a TLDR actually. Like, the US has attacked Iran with 12 those B-2 bomber bunker buster bombs that Israel did not have. Trump declared it an amazing victory, amazing achievement. There were also the 30 Tomahawk missiles, but they've not been targeted at Fordo. They've been targeted at much less fortified stuff. Last time I've seen, there's been an attack on Qatar. And I've actually once visited Qatar in passing. I was flying with the Qatar Airlines to go to Vietnam. So I've been to Qatar briefly once before. Vitor is such pretty planes. What a shame the country's using it by the country using it is ruled by morons. I mean, it is what it is, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Also, it is worth noting because I feel like this is missing from the conversation. The United States, or rather Trump, okay, let's start with the fact that during his first term, he abandoned a perfectly good deal that the US had with Iran. Okay, that there was a perfectly good deal in place about the uranium enrichment when it comes to Iran. So that was scrapped. And very recently, basically, Trump supposedly was to return to the Obama deal. But no, he just decided that Iran would not be doing any enrichment whatsoever. And for context, there are a certain amount of thresholds of enrichment of uranium that have to be passed in order to not just use the uranium for civilian purposes, but to use them for nuclear warheads. And in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Pact, it is said that countries have the right for domestic uranium enrichment for the purposes of civilian use. And Iran basically was told, no, you cannot enrich uranium ever in the slightest. If you want enriched uranium, you'll just have to import it from outside, which quite frankly is not a reasonable way to want to make a deal with Iran, in my opinion. Okay? It's not a reasonable deal proposal. And so, of course, the deal was stalled. because no party could move forward. The United States under Trump said you cannot enrich. Iran said yes we can, that's our right, so we will. And then Israel attacked, and then the United States attacked, and we are where we are. Right now, in this whole mess, we are where we are. And then, just today, I'm not sure if it's ongoing or not, we will have to check it out. Iran has attacked a US base in Qatar. So that's what we're going to be checking out right now. Let's see if there's any Iran attack on Qatar live updates. Tools whenever last hour. Israel-Iran live updates. President Trump announces a ceasefire. That I have heard from my audience. Israel-Iran updates. Israel and Iran agree to ceasefire, Trump says. Well, this is interesting. Like breaking news, I suppose, from 20 minutes ago. Let's go. Vance reacts to ceasefire deal. Tomorrow really is a new day. I have come up with a solution to the problem I have caused. Trump, true. Truly a great peacemaker. Well, a ceasefire is technically speaking not really peace, it's just a ceasefire. So that's not really peace. Vice President J.D. Vance reacted live to President Donald Trump's social media post announcing a ceasefire between Israel and Iran in an interview with Fox News. Tomorrow really is a new day. The end of the 12-day war, the end of the Iranian nuclear program, and I really do believe the beginning of something very big for peace in the Middle East. How would you know? How can you make such a statement? How do you know that the Iranian nuclear program will end? How do you even know? A ceasefire is not an end to a war. Far from it, actually. Okay? There's a reason why you have two different words. Ceasefire and peace. A ceasefire is not peace, okay? A ceasefire just means that the hostilities stop for a limited time. And where's Trump's statement? The White House transmitted its official notice of the US strikes on Iran. That's whatever. US military officials react to Iranian missile attack. In the first official US military confirmation of the Iranian attack targeting Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, US Central Command said the missile barrage was defeated by US and Qatari Patriot batteries. CENTCOM also confirmed that there were no casualties to American or Qatari personnel. We will continue to aggressively defend our service members and partners in the region. Our adversaries should have no doubt about our resolve or our capabilities. So basically as I predicted, as I suspected, the Iranian attack on Qatar has been repelled. Yeah, they said that, but Trump says that about a lot. I will remind you that Trump says that about a lot. Every so often, Trump says that he's so close to getting a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. Trump is such a peacemaker. Amazing person. There you go. Latest. Alright, let me see. Trump announces Israel and Iran have agreed to a ceasefire. Let me see. That's from 1 hour ago. Iran carried out a missile attack on the United States base in Qatar. There's no reports on casualties. Iran's attack was in response to the US on Saturday sending B-2 bombers. Also on Monday, Trump announced that Israel and Iran have agreed to a ceasefire after more than a week of aerial attacks following Israel's attack on Iran's nuclear program.
In our nation's capital, and we'll begin with breaking news this half hour. Another major update on the conflict in the Middle East. President Trump just a short time ago saying that Israel and Iran have agreed to a, quote, complete and total ceasefire set to begin in about 6 hours. This coming on the heels of days of escalating tensions in the region. Earlier today, Iran attacking a U.S. base in Qatar in response to strikes on 3 key Iranian nuclear sites ordered by President Trump.
Let me see. We can have any confirmation. It is important to note that the ceasefire doesn't exist. I mean, it certainly exists in Trumpland. But he's pretty firm in this. He's pretty firm in everything. He was firm that he was having a great conversation with Vladimir Putin every single time they talked on the phone. He was pretty firm on that as well. We have had such a great conversation with Vladimir Putin. We're about to get things done. We're about to get a ceasefire with Vladimir Putin. And where did that lead him? I'm sorry, but Trump being firm on things does not really fill me with confidence. So far his negotiation skills have not. He has actually. He has. Okay, there's this group of 8 that is supposed to be briefed on this thing, and only the Republicans were briefed and the Democrats were not. That's what happened about the breathing. That is what happened, unfortunately. That is what happened. Oh my gosh, I'm losing the chat. Thank you for the tier 1. She's lovely and we all love her. Wow, well thank you. Thank you very much. Trump announces ceasefire. Live update. Trump says Israel and Iran agree to complete and total ceasefire. Live updates by CNN. Qatar helped broker Israel-Iran ceasefire, sources say. So there seems to be some merit to this claim. Let us see. President Donald Trump spoke with the Emir of Qatar today and told him that the US was able to get Israel to agree to a ceasefire. Of course, keep in mind that Israel has also had a lot of ceasefires with Gaza, and we all know what happens when Israel agrees to a ceasefire. So even if there is a ceasefire, I would like to wait and see just how long will it last, okay? Ceasefires with Israel have a history of not lasting very long, just so you know. Although Netanyahu, to be fair, did officially announce that the anti-nuclear goals for Iran have been reached. I'm pretty sure Israel made strikes shortly after Trump said that, and Iran state media denied it directly. Interesting. Trump then asked Qatar to work on persuading Iran to also agree to a ceasefire. The source said Vice President J.D. Vance then coordinated with the Qatari Prime Minister's office on details. After speaking with the Qatari Prime Minister, the Iranians agreed to a ceasefire proposal, the source said. CNN has reached out to the White House for comment. Trump also spoke to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday to broker that side of the deal. A U.S. official says in a series of phone calls that Trump, Vance, and others had today. So this is from like 4 minutes ago, this update about Qatar brokering a ceasefire. So let me check if there are any news about the ceasefire being broken, because we would be seeing some form of news about the ceasefire being broken if that were to be the case. Go to Google once more. Israel, Iran ceasefire broken. Tools, last hour. Details revealed behind Israel ceasefire. Iran confirms it has agreed to ceasefire. Okay, so it seems like we do have in fact a ceasefire. New update. Why Iran possibly warned Qatar about its attack ahead of time? Well, now it's getting interesting. Apparently Qatar has been warned by Iran. CNN's Clarissa Ward is in Tel Aviv as Iran launched strikes towards a US military base in neighboring Qatar. But according to one source, the Iranians warned the Qatarians that the strikes were coming. In short, the US likely knew ahead of time. Word breaks down why Tehran issued the warning and what it did. Okay, let's see.
According to a source.
Let me look at this again. Okay, let's watch this from the...
Thank you very much.
No. That's not what I want to watch. I want to watch the lady's statement.
Is that effectively the Iranians, according to a source, had literally telegrammed to the that this was going to happen. The Qataris were in turn then able to let the Americans know, which meant that measures were taken and things were put in place so that there wouldn't be any real damage or danger, and certainly any casualties as a result of the strikes. Now, what that did was it allowed for Iran to project strength internally to a domestic Iranian audience. They put out images of these missiles that were allegedly the ones fired at Qatar, taking off from Iran, along with some fiery rhetoric, all designed to give the impression of fighting back and hitting America where it hurts. But in effect, by telegraphing it to the Qataris, who then were able to tell the Americans, what they were really doing was trying to find the kind of attack that would show a robust response without escalating things any further.
Interesting update. That is actually pretty interesting. The idea that Iran just wanted to project strength internally, but externally was sort of preparing for negotiations. That is actually pretty interesting to think about. I guess we're gonna wait for more updates as they come, and apparently we have a ceasefire. How long it'll last and if it'll actually lead to any sort of peace, we'll have to observe for an update. Iran agreed to a US proposed ceasefire after talks mediated by Qatar, diplomat says. We've already read this. We've already seen this. Iran agreed. US President Donald Trump asked the Emir of Qatar to broker the ceasefire. Neither the Israeli nor Iranian governments have yet confirmed their agreement to the ceasefire. I have no clue what. Oh, new update. There we go. Iran foreign minister says currently no agreement on ceasefire with Israel. Well, there we go. I knew it. Oh my God. Wow. What a champion Trump is. What a peacemaker. Alright, let me read this again because this is too ridiculous. Iran foreign minister says currently no agreement on ceasefire with Israel, but Tehran has no intention to continue a response if Israel stops attacks first. Oh my God. This is so ridiculous. Of course, yes, Israel and Iran agreed to my ceasefire. I am the deal maker. I am Donald Trump. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi said there was currently no ceasefire agreement with Israel, but said Iran would halt its military response if Israel stopped its strikes on Iran by 4 a.m. local time there. As Iran has repeatedly made clear, Israel launched war on Iran, not the other way around, Araghchi said in post on X. As of now, there is no agreement on any ceasefire or cessation of military operations. Well, what do you know? Araghchi added that if Israel stops its illegal aggression against Iran no later than 4 a.m. Tehran time, we have no intention to continue our response afterwards. It is coming up to 4:30 a.m. local time in Tehran. The final decision on the cessation of our military operations will be made later, he said. Some context. A senior White House official previously told CNN that Israel agreed to a ceasefire deal on the condition that Iran stops its attacks in their country. Iran agreed to those terms, the source said. Whoops. Well, so much for the ceasefire. You stop first. No, you stop first. So much for that. Oh, wait, no, wait. Breaking news. Iran foreign minister says military operations against Israel continued until the very last minute. In hint, hostilities have ended. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi thanked Iran's armed forces and said military operations against Israel continued until the very last minute, hinting that hostilities may have ended. The military operations of our powerful armed forces to punish Israel for its aggression continued until the very last minute at 4 a.m., Araghchi said in post on X. Earlier, Araghchi said Iran would halt its military response if Israel stopped its strikes on Iran by 4 a.m. local time in Tehran, which is 30 minutes ahead of Israel. Araghchi's latest post came just after 4 a.m. in Israel. Together with all Iranians, I thank our brave armed forces who remain ready to defend our dear country until their last drop of blood, and who responded to any attack by the enemy until the very last minute. What I'm seeing here is, no, we haven't accepted any ceasefire. We simply ceased fire. This is silly. It's not like we agreed to any ceasefire. We just demand that Israel stops by 4 a.m. Yep, Israel stopped by 4 a.m. So guess we're having a cease. What is this? Oh, how silly. How silly. We'll see if there will be any other updates though. We'll see. Let us read this. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Wait, a ceasefire is not an end to a war, okay? Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful, on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. We'll see. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the world. Wow. Well, that is a thing. That is a statement. We'll see what this ceasefire will lead to, okay? It is still an ongoing story as far as I'm concerned. It's not I'm careful, okay? I am very, very careful about this whole thing.
My winner of the week is Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. The long-term impacts are very unclear of the strikes, but I think in the short term, Netanyahu has succeeded in his objectives. Strikes were undeniably effective. It's very clear that Israeli intelligence penetration in Iran is total. They know where the senior leadership are at all times. Apparently, there are even reports that it was only a Trump veto that stopped Israel from assassinating Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Netanyahu has successfully distracted, most importantly, the Europeans from what's happening in Gaza. European public opinion, or at least sort of the opinion of the political class, was turning against Israel. Basically, he's switched things around very, very quickly, and now all of the European leaders are talking about Israel's right to defend itself and, how Iran is the primary threat to regional stability. I think he has sort of played Trump. Again, this is my reading between the lines. I do think it looks like Trump tried to say no, Netanyahu went ahead and did it, and Trump has had to sort of improvise a position on the fly, and that basically involves saying, oh no, I knew about this all along, which is exactly what Netanyahu would have wanted.
So basically, it looks like the biggest winner of this whole thing is Israel.